Here is a second one. It looks that they crash into each other. It looks that the spikes started to appear on those graphs more often. Those ones were recorded on low energy proton flux graph. In the case of the first spike, which was recorded almost exactly at 3 in the morning UTC, there was a clear impact on solar wind velocity, which reached amazing value of 928 kilometers per second. And here's proof that those readings were not just an error in data, as the spike is visible on Canadian magnetometers plot. Exactly at 3 UTC. Couple minutes later, an unusual quake in Iran took place. This graph shows the high energy proton flux from SOHO. There is a visible increase of particles at energy bands from 2 to 13 MeV. But at the same time, this event wasn't noticed by other satellites. Maybe the SOHO craft entered some kind of wormhole and is placed in different star system where a proton event is taking place currently. But let's look if the second spike of protons caused any earthquakes as well. Yes, it looks that we have another coincidence. I have no idea if this image is just an error in data, however it is for sure worth to be recorded. This monitor shows the surface heat index. There was a strong earthquake, 7.0 magnitude in Chiapas, Mexico. It took place at 11:23 UTC. I would be really happy if there would be some kind of spike on ACE readings, but it looks that not this time. However, couple hours earlier, there were 2 smaller waves of increased density. Not too dense and not too fast. According to SWMF Solar Wind Monitor, first of those spikes arrived at Earth at 10 and the last one at 11 UTC. But in the difference to other 2 spikes, the one in the middle caused a shift in the BY-IMF component. So it was a kind of sector boundary. Soon after the quake, Earth entered a different sector of interplanetary magnetic field. But let's look how the impact looked like on SWMF magnetosphere cuts. Old versions, as the new ones are again offline. Something very interesting takes place on the Z-cut view just before the impacts. Look what happens with the backside flux tube. It gets much thinner, just like the low energy field would expect the density waves. On the magnetopause position monitor, it is visible that there was a huge gap in the magnetopause, which was probably caused by the magnetic connection with low energy field. After the impacts, the magnetopause started to be influenced in different way, as the magnetic orientation of IMF changed. I didn't find anything interesting on the HMF2 monitor, however the electron cloud at 300 km started to behave odd just before the quake. Notice the increased density around the main flux tube connection. But right over the epicenter we can see a strange configuration of the electron cloud. It looks like two negative polarities with a positive field between them. It is visible as well on the SWOTC tech map. On atomic oxygen monitor, we can see a clear inflow of particles at the time of quake. According to Ovation Prime monitor, the auroral power grew right at the time when the quake occurred. But it's rather hard to call it a geomagnetic storm. For the end, the polar cap potential. For the end, a small look at the Sun, where the positive pole of heliosphere is passing through the Earth-facing disk. I'm really curious what will happen when the coronal hole stream from the positive coronal hole will impact Earth. How fast will be the fast solar wind? I can say you one thing. This solar cycle is not going well. Class dismissed. Peace.